Welcome to Keto on the Couch, episode 162 from the RV on the side of Chris and Miriam's house.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are two crazy ketos.
And if you're new to our channel, welcome.
Yes, if you are new here, say hi down below.
Now, here on Two Crazy Ketos, we do different things like recipe videos and we do product reviews. We talk about various keto topics, and then every Monday, we go live on Keto on the Couch, where we just kind of talk about what's going on in our lives for the week.
You can find us in different social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
And we have a website, which is twocrazyketos.com, and that's where you're going to find all of our different recipes. Now, we do upload at least 5 new videos every single week, so make sure you subscribe to our channel.
And don't forget to hit the little bell icon, in that way, as Carrie says, I need to watch out for Elmer Fudd. You'll be alerted to it.
High five. We still have not missed a Keto on the Couch.
Praise the Lord. That is so awesome.
So, live from Utah, this is a completely different setup. I'm used to a full studio in our front room. It's funny, I did my taxes before we left.
I can't even show off my Keto Salt Lake shirt because of how we're sitting. I'm sorry about that. I really wanted to showcase it.
And I was going back and forth when I was doing my taxes, like home office, yes. We turned an entire 500 square foot room in our house into a studio. I think that classifies as a home office.
Well, we put the K in crazy for sure.
Right. So yeah, we're actually using the church software I use for kids ministry to do this live stream. I didn't even know it did it. So
whatever works.
If we have a problem, I'm sorry. We're going to do the best we can. We're doing this through Wi-Fi. So I'm hoping everything works great. But yeah, we're here in Salt Lake. We're not going home till tomorrow. We had a great time at Keto Salt Lake.
It was such a beautiful time. I cannot speak highly enough about Chris and Miriam Bear. I just cannot.
They did a great job, and they did it by themselves.
They really did. Poor Chris, he had to be so exhausted. Both of them had to be so exhausted. But they really want to invest in the lives of everybody in this keto community. And it shows, you put your money where your mouth is. Right. And they have put so much time and so much effort to really just putting together so many experts in this field. Yeah. The sides of the conference were just so amazing, and the fact that they presented it online for free blew my mind.
So if you haven't seen it yet, right now they have all of the lives online, but I know Chris is going to be spending the next week or so literally cutting it up into individual talks. There were some phenomenal talks. The biggest takeaway, and we don't want to make Keto on the Couch too long because we're using their internet and they have to do their live stream.
Yes.
But my biggest takeaway is I have got to focus on sleep. I think it's the last thing I need to work on, that Rachel needs to work on. And without getting too much into it, the biggest thing for me is we don't normally go to bed till between 12 and 1 a.m. and we're up by 6.
Yeah.
And so our goal going home is in bed, TV off by 10:30. And that's probably still not early enough, but we're if we can shave 2 hours off, that will be a huge accomplishment, and then work from there.
Well, they were so cute last night. The kids had us go on an Easter egg hunt, but it was different. It was a Post-it note hunt.
Yeah,
so,
like a scavenger hunt.
Like a scavenger hunt, and we had to follow all of these different Post-it notes, which was just as sweet as it could be. And it led us to 2 Easter baskets. I can't even remember the last time that I personally got an Easter basket. That was just such a loving thing for them to do, and these ears were in the Easter basket. And Joe, in his Easter basket, was this...
I used to know how to do that.
Was this Rubik's Cube, and I thought that this really symbolized what kind of got brought out of Keto Salt Lake, and it really spoke into my life, because I think sometimes we think, well, here's the diet part of it, right. And if I can just really go hard and get, a keto diet going on in my life, that's the only thing that I need to solve. And we really were taught, again, through all of these speakers, that there's lots of sides to our life. So you can't just be like, well, I'm going to just do my diet. There's also fitness. There's also sleep. There's also stress. And you really need to take time during this tracking month to kind of track down what is the problem? You know, what is the source of some things that you need to really take a look at?
Yeah, I saw over here, LaShawn said, try to be in bed by 9 p.m. and don't fall asleep until between 2 and 5 a.m. Menopause sucks. And yeah, and I mean, I've always had a hard time sleeping. But one of the things we realize is that you can have your diet perfect, you can have your exercise perfect, but if you don't get that sleep,
Yeah.
you're screwing up your circadian rhythm and you're not going to lose weight no matter what you do, and you're probably going to gain weight. And I think that's my biggest issue. LaShawn, I'm going to recommend to you the same thing that was recommended to me, and then we're going to move on to keto on the couch, and that is turning, like, literally complete darkness, things over your eyes, using glasses that simulate darkness or simulate like the bonfire going down, the sun going down, using the sun and the circadian rhythm. The only other thing that I'm taking away from, if I don't eat by 7 p.m., I don't eat. That's it. It's like our rule has always been 1 hour before we go to bed, and like listening to Benazati and stuff, and it's like, no, it's 3 hours. You should not eat for 3 hours before you go to bed.
Yeah, I really got challenged that I can no longer just be like, well, I just have a hard time with sleep. Yeah. Like, that's just it forever. It's like, we need to take steps to correct that.
Yeah. So, if you're new to our channel, Keto on the Couch, we're obviously doing it live. We used to record it.
I'm going to have to put my arm around you a little.
We stopped recording it because it takes too long to edit. And so the way we're going to do this, and we're about to get invaded by Chris and Miriam.
Hey!
You've got two microphones that are hot, and they're just making a little bit of echo.
I've got two microphones that are hot. What is my second microphone?
Probably your camera, your webcam.
That's the only one that we're supposed to have. Okay. Hold on 1 second. Let me look here. Two microphones that are hot. Screen, presentation. This is really weird. Preferences. Let me see. Preferences.
Thank you for bearing with us.
And we're going to go to audio, and we're going to turn this off. And then we'll have to turn it back on when we get to the other slide.
Let us know if that works.
Chris, let us know once we do this if we got.
Does that sound better?
Let us know in a second if it sounds a little bit better. Someone just stole them since they're hot. Okay, yeah. So the way we do this live, obviously, we screw things up.
Yeah.
Because we've never done it this way before. So because the chat is over on my iPad over there, we're not going to really be able to see it until the end. But I did want to, since Chris just walked in here, I wanted to show you something because this was really weird. I want you guys to, whatever you do, when you go outside of your house today, I want you to look around and appreciate something that your house...
Rachel, and they're saying better, so...
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll just have to remember to turn it on when we get to the other spot. I want you, when you walk outside your house today, to look around and appreciate what you have, because I know we're guilty of this.
So guilty.
Where you don't appreciate what you have because you see it every day.
Right.
When we got here, we went for a ride with Chris and Miriam, and as soon as we walked out their front door, because we came in late at night, and we were like, oh my gosh, and they're like, what's the big deal? And I'm like, do you understand the biggest mountain that we see in Florida is the garbage dump?
Right, but we were the same way when they came to visit us. They were gasping at water views, and we were like, what's the big deal? So we were just as guilty. I think that, you know, whatever you see all the time, you kind of just don't appreciate after a while.
Yeah. So let's get right into Keto on the Couch. We met a lot of great people, and this week's not subscriber of the week, Keto College Adjunct Professor of the Week is somebody we met this weekend.
Yes.
His name is Mark.
So thankful for him.
And Mark put this post up. He immediately went and joined our Facebook group. And he said, I met Joe and Rachel at Low Carb Keto Salt Lake. Our message is very similar. Once we correct our own health issues, our job is to help others do the same.
Yes.
Not through evangelism, but through example. I'm 58. I've reversed my osteoporosis. My wife, who introduced me to keto, stopped being suicidal.
Wow.
She controls her bipolar. Currently, we're attempting to resolve her connective tissue disorders, and you're probably not going to be able to hear anything when we go to this slide, so we're just going to show it up to you for a second. Is that amazing?
Wow, that is so incredible. I was so honored to get to meet him, and Mark is somebody that really invests a lot of energy and time into helping connect like experts in the space and helping to really make it feel like a community, because we would be like, hey, we have a question about this, and he's like, oh, this is the person that you need to talk to, let me help you connect to that person. And when we saw that he had joined the Two Crazy Ketos family group, I felt so honored that he had just joined our group, and he's definitely a resource. So if you have questions, I definitely would reach out to him. He's been doing keto for a very long time, just a brilliant man that's really able to articulate a lot of the science about what's going on in our body. And I think that he's just such a valuable resource, and I feel so privileged to have access to him and his beautiful wife.
Yeah, Becky said palm tree addicted. I have to tell you, I'm ready to move out here. The mountains. What really made me want to move out here is when Chris told me that his kids pay 25% on their only 25% of what we pay on our car insurance for their car insurance.
Yeah, it was
I'm
crazy.
like, what? And people said, how much do you pay for car insurance? I'm like, no tickets, no accidents in 16 years, and our insurance is $2,000 every 6 months. And he's like, we pay $600 for our kids.
I'll tell you a big drawing factor.
That might even make Anthony move.
Oh yeah, a big drawing factor.
Plus the mountains. That's
for
kind of cool.
me are the two sweet ducks that kind of live at the end of Chris and Miriam's block, that every day almost like make a concerted effort to be in the corner of this one house to just kind of say good morning.
Right.
Just so sweet.
Okay, let's move on to our subscriber of the weeks. The first one we have is Amanda.
Hey, Amanda.
Amanda said, I wanted to personally thank you. This is my 1-year keto journey. You two have encouraged me in so many ways to stay on track and truthful to myself. I'm very proud of how far I've come in this amount of time. It has helped me to keep moving forward. I love the new me and the way I feel. You two are amazing.
Oh, Amanda, you look so stinking incredible. I love that cute couple. And I really appreciate you for letting us be a part of that journey. I mean, one of the reasons why we felt so privileged to be a part of Keto Salt Lake is the opportunity to see people face to face. Right? And to be like, no, seriously, this really is such an honor to speak into your life, and the ability to see people in person, hug their neck. I'm so weird. Sometimes I just want to touch their face, because I'm really privileged to be a part of what they're doing.
Yeah, and again, we're gonna always encourage you. We talked about it during Keto Salt Lake, about, aside from sharing your stories, which we're gonna talk about in a second, but if you have an opportunity to go to a conference, go. Find the money. Most of them are not that expensive. A lot of them, for example, Keto Khan, you can even volunteer to help, like, work one of the, like, the front table, registration table, and they'll let you in for free if you volunteer. I guess it's not really free.
Go to Keto Omaha. We have a 50% off ticket price.
So there's a link down below. When I get home, we're going to put a thing on our website of all of the conferences that we will be attending. But just to let you know right now, the next one up is Keto Khan in July. That's the next one we know that we're going to be going.
After the cruise.
Then we have, we'll be in Orlando, Omaha. We will be at Dr. Barry's event, which is in September. We'll be at Keto Palooza. And we're speaking at all of those conferences.
So excited.
And then whatever else happens to pop up, we're going to try to get to a couple of more as well. But whether we're there or not, get there, because you definitely want to be a part of a community. And again, sometimes when you put the dollar to it, you get more out of it.
Yeah, like you're not coming home from Keto Salt Lake if you bought a ticket to it and not being like, okay, I'm going to make a change. Not, we don't need to overhaul our life and overwhelm ourselves, but you're definitely going home, with like, this is what I'm going to do. And how beautiful was it to look into the audience and see Shauna and Brian and Karen and Joe Ray, and like just everybody sitting together. We saw Virginia there, and just people are making friendships. And I think that that's really precious.
Dennis, yes. Audio is going to cut out when the photos are inserted, because Chris had me turn off the other microphone. So we're just not talking when we put up the pictures, and we're going to talk. So normally we would talk over the pictures. until I get to the very end. It's because of the way we have this set up. If I enable that microphone so I can talk over the picture, then you're going to get a double audio. So rather than me trying to turn the microphone off and on and off and on, it's not easy to do when you're running everything off of one laptop.
I already miss Tanya.
Yeah.
I love getting to see you, girl.
Okay, next one is from April.
Hey, April.
April said, here's my story. I've been big all my life and tried every crazy diet. In 2018, I was diagnosed with MS. It took everything out of me to get out of bed. The physical pain of living was awful. The medications and injections to just make it day to day. 2021, I had enough. Somehow, I found keto on YouTube. Started following different people doing research. August 2021, I started doing keto. By that November, I was able to move, so I joined a gym. I now do a CrossFit class, and I can do planks and squats and all kinds of things that I never thought I would be able to do. I started keeping keto, weighing 240 pounds, size 20, 2XL. Current weight is 188, size 12, large. I get up in the morning with little to no pain. I still have bad days, but they are far and few.
That's so good.
I have lots still to go, lots to learn. But keto has given me so much more than weight loss. I now realize I have an addiction to carbs and sugar and just plain overeating. I have a saying, 1 is too many and 1,000 is not
so
enough.
Good.
I am definitely a work in progress. Pink shirt is from 2019. Blue sports top. The day I started going to the gym. The black flower sports top is as of today.
Oh, wow. Like, I got to see you. I'm so excited. You look so amazing and beautiful. And it was so good to just see you in person this week, because you look absolutely incredible.
Now, again, I want to remind you, this was something that listen, it's something we always harp on, and we harped on it as we were emceeing the conference, and thank you to everybody who told us we were doing a good job, because we were panicking a little bit. And
yes.
You have very different personalities.
Yes.
Rachel is there with note cards and preparing and pacing back and forth, and she's like, what are you going to say? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to wing it.
Yeah, I am very different, and a big shout out to Rhiannon who came, in the back, and just it was just so encouraging, because this is very new to me. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it is such a victorious privilege to be able to MC an event. Yes. When 10 years ago, I could not speak in front of people because of crippling depression, anxiety, social anxiety absolutely overwhelmed me. And I was so thankful for Rhiannon and for Marie who were encouraging and was like, I know that this is tough. This is a big next step, and it is okay that you got in 12,000 steps walking in the middle of the room in between, presentations, because this is hard, but every step is a step of victory. And I really truly believe that the future is limitless, right? We're going to keep taking back from what we couldn't do before.
Yeah. And what that was bringing me to is you have to share your story. Yeah. You don't understand how important your story is. And I'm glad it's something we've always talked about, but you heard it from the speakers over and over and over again. And as Mark said, as you have success on keto, as you start improving your health, it's not just like you should. It's your duty.
Yeah.
To really go out and spread the word, because it came up over and over again that this, like the change in the way we eat, the change in getting, companies to fix their nutrition labels and doctors to stop with all of the medicines and start looking at what we eat. It's not coming from Washington. It's going to come from us having success and our doctors noticing it and it working its way up. So it's really, 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 really important that you share your story. And I do, before we take a quick fade to black, I just want to say thank you to Chris and Miriam for allowing us to do that.
Yes.
And also, here's the thing. 2 years ago, we were like in awe of all those people. Those people that you saw as speakers, they motivated us to have the health journey that we've had. And it made us be like, we have to share our story. So we're encouraging you to do the same thing. As you have success, as your health turns around, You need to share your story. Let's take a quick fade to black, and then we're going to come back with the YouTube comment.
So I was just going to say, to just kind of add on to that, one of the sides that maybe is what we need to work on is our peopling. And do we have trouble with isolation? Because we're not meant to do life alone. And it is hard to be social. It is hard to put ourselves out there. And I love that there's all of these squares within the squares. And every one of these squares can represent a step to putting ourselves out there. Sharing your story on YouTube or on a Facebook group, that is one step. Coming out to a conference, that is another step. Stepping up and asking a question at a conference is a step. And really, Dr. Barry kept telling me when we were behind the scenes, please continue to tell these people, come up to us, approach us. We are here not to just talk with no audience. We want you to approach us and ask us specific questions so that we can face to face answer those.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into the comment from YouTube from last week. First one's from Shannon.
Hey, Shannon.
Shannon said, I bought a half of beef. My husband doesn't know it, but he wants a smoker as an early Father's Day present. Someone told me that they use apple juice when they smoke. I'm curious, what is your process? You can use apple juice because I don't do it a lot. But if you're making something like a pork rub or a pork butt or something like that, you do want to keep them moisturizing. So a lot of times what I'll do is mix water and apple cider vinegar. But you can put a little bit of apple juice in there. Is there a little bit of sugar in apple juice? Yes, but you're just spraying it on the outside. So you can put like 25% apple juice, probably about 75% water, and maybe like 25, maybe like another 5% or so. I know that doesn't add up to 100, but I'm speaking off the top of my head.
That sounds like Rachel
and a little bit of apple cider vinegar. And it'll bring a little bit of flavor, but you're not adding enough sugar to have it meaningful. You're talking about an 8-pound pork butt and putting maybe an ounce of apple cider on the outside just to keep it moist.
You know what I just pulled out of that entire state? I just heard moisturize your butt.
Nice.
Moisturize your butt. That's the message.
Next one is from Juju Bunny.
Hey, what's up? Does decaf coffee have the same carbs? When I Google it, it says 0 carbs and 8 ounces. Where can I find the info on the carb count in coffee? Where's a solid published resource on the numbers? Thank you.
Best thing to do is go to Chronometer. But listen,
Are you only drinking 8 ounces?
Right.
Is the biggest
question.
question.
You got to remember rounding down. So they're allowed to round down. And a lot of times when you just use Google, okay, Google is going to tell you anything that a nutrition label normally would say, which is for 8 ounces, there is 0.8 carbs, I believe it is, in an 8-ounce cup of coffee. And so, yeah, that's according to the way the labeling guidelines are here in the United States, that means it's 0. Is it 0? No. It's like heavy. Oh, I don't have that much.
Residual.
It's like heavy whipping cream. If you Google how many carbs are in heavy whipping cream, a lot of times it just comes up with 0. But there is 4.4 carbs in a tablespoon of heavy whipping cream. And again, I wouldn't worry about the carbs in your coffee unless you're like Rachel and you were drinking 2 pots of coffee.
Yes.
And so if you're drinking a lot of coffee, if you're drinking 24, 36, 48 ounces of coffee in a day and you're in a stall, hey, maybe. And this is a hard thing even for us to hear. If you can't go 2 or 3 days without something, you probably need to address that issue.
I definitely think so. And what we're trying to do this month is just track.
Yeah.
Just keep track of things.
It's not about tracking to hit a macro.
Yes.
It's about tracking to see what you're doing.
So that you know what you're doing. If you get to the end of this month and you're like, hey, I am averaging 50 ounces of coffee a day, maybe I want to investigate it, right? We're tracking all kinds of different things. This week, we knew it was going to be very difficult for us to kind of carve out the time to track in Chronometer. We wanted to, that was the goal, but the day was like 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. So our goal this week was just to keep track of how many times we ate. And the goal was, with a coffee experience, we wanted to have 3 times a day that we were eating. So when we would be on the plane and they were handing out almonds, I would just say like, well, is this going to be the meal? Because I only want to eat 3 times a day. So I was like, no, I don't want this to be an extra meal. So I will just wait and eat this with my meal, part of those 3 times a day. I kept track of how many times I ate. That was the goal this week.
Shauna said, someone carb math my coffee. I usually have 16 to 20 ounces at a time. 20 ounce cup of coffee brewed over ground. So regular, what most of us drink, just brewed coffee over ground. 20 ounce cup of coffee has 3 carbs in it.
There you go.
So if you're drinking cold brew coffee, it's 3 carbs per 8 ounces. So if you go to Starbucks and just get a black 24 ounce cold brew coffee, you're looking at over 6 to 8 carbs in that.
Well, and again, it's not to police anybody,
Right.
but if you were listening to any of the speakers that really talked about the benefits of restricting your carbs, if you think that you're having 30 total carbs a day, but you're really having 50 total carbs a day, it's nice to know, especially if you're trying to change your health, you know, that may be where you're like, okay, well, this is the way that I can reduce it. Or maybe you're like, I want to keep the coffee, but you're going to reduce your vegetable consumption because you're going to reduce your carbs.
And Dr. Berry said it best. Somebody said my A1C went up on keto. He said, then you weren't doing keto. I mean, and the man is blunt. That's why I love Dr. Berry.
Right.
He's like, if your A1C goes up on keto, you're not doing keto correctly. You're not doing real keto. And it may mean you need to restrict. You may have to look at like, oh my gosh, I'm having a lot more carbs than I thought I was. Keto Life Granny said, I'm having more issues with quitting chewing gum than I did stopping sugars. And that is an issue Rachel had. And here's the problem with chewing gum. And again, make it part of a meal. But all of the gums, if you're having any kind of sugar-free or keto-friendly gum, it is usually sweetened with xylitol. Xylitol is not 0 on the glycemic index. That means every time you put a piece of gum in your mouth, you're having an insulin reaction. And you're also preparing your stomach for food because you're chewing. It's a saliva thing. So if you're doing that throughout the day, you're never giving your body a chance to really enter into fat loss mode because you're always working on your insulin.
And I was absolutely having 15 pieces of gum a day.
Yep.
So that's 15 meals as far as my body was concerned. Is it fair? Do I want to talk to my organs? Do I want to talk to my insulin and be like, well, wait a second, don't judge this as a meal. No, I cannot communicate with my body that way. It only just sees it as an interaction.
So before we get on to the next one, Petite D, why does cold brew have more carby? Because okay, there's carbs in coffee beans. What happens is when the way you make cold brew is you literally have the coffee just sitting in this water and it's soaking for 24 hours or whatever. So it picks up more carbs out of the water. So it's all in how you brew it is what determines the amount of carbs. So, I mean, and the real expert on this is, I see her in the stream, is Radical Geek Maitreya.
Yes.
So, like, she could tell you, like, espresso has more carbs than brewed coffee. So, it's got to do with the brewing process. Next one is from Deb.
Hey, Deb. I've been tracking for a couple of years off and on, so I decided to really pay attention to detail as I want to drop 10 more pounds. I found that I was not being accurate with eyeballing my portions. I've been weighing my food and discovered I had been underestimating the volume I was eating. Now that I corrected that, I am slowly losing again.
Yeah. So again, that's why we're tracking. We're not tracking to hit our macros. We're just tracking to go, hey, how am I doing? And then if you are on a stall, if you're not losing weight, or maybe you're losing weight and you don't want to lose weight, you can look and go like, oh, that's why I'm not eating enough, or I'm eating too much, or I'm eating too many times a day.
Or at the wrong time a day for me.
Yep. Next one's from Wilma. Wilma said, what is the best macro food tracker app mentioned on this video? I heard it and I can't find it when I look for it. There's a link down below. Chronometer is always going to be the best food tracker. And that is just because they do their best to really verify everything before they put it in there.
It's not perfect.
It's not perfect.
Nothing's perfect.
The problem with something like MyFitnessPal or Carb Manager is that anybody can add something in and it's unverified. So, for example, I can put in there that a 50-ounce cup of coffee has 0 carbs. or I can put in that there's zero carbs in heavy whipping cream. So when you multiply it out and you drink a cup of heavy whipping cream, it still has 0 carbs, even though a cup of heavy whipping cream would be 8 carbs.
Right.
So that's why we like Chronometer. Just never use any tracking app. I don't care which one it is, Carb Manager, any of them, to determine your macros, because at least if you're trying to lose weight, because they are basing it off of like rehabilitative keto, like basically like if you're trying to do things for like Alzheimer's or epilepsy or something like that. And we're trying to lose weight. So that's where you have to be determining your macros based on grams of protein, grams of fat, not percentages of fat.
Maitreya had a funny point. Yes, but you also don't generally drink 20 ounces of espresso shots. I mean, if you do, we probably need to talk about this. I remember when we went to a conference once and they were having like Cuban coffee shots. I may have had a 20-ounce day that day.
Oh, no, I can tell you.
We were
at Fellowship Church in Texas.
It was delicious.
And I was drinking, they called them H&L coffees.
Whole nother level.
And basically it was a Cuban coffee. I was drinking triple shots, 5 a day.
I could have walked home from Texas.
Yeah. Next one's from Denise.
Hey, Denise. Okay, Joe, I finally feel okay about sharing. I watched Keto Salt Lake online. Thank you, Keto Chow, for doing that. So many people, including you and Rachel, talked about how successful I should be with what I have. In 2018, I was successful in losing 60 pounds over 8 months. I felt so good. I loved it. Then a year of illnesses brought me 8 surgeries, including gallbladder removal and half of my thyroid removed. I was told to change to low fat, high veg, and my stomach stayed torn up. So I went back to what I knew. Fast forward to today, I have been on a 2-year stall and am disappointed. But after this weekend, I realized I never had weeks or months of changing back to the sad diet. Yes, I had off-plan meals or days, but the minute I have a hard time getting out of bed, I get right back on. This is the first time in my 60 plus years that I didn't gain back what I lost, and today I am 3 pounds from my lowest in 2018. I still can't figure out my stall or how to kickstart back, but I will absolutely praise my success for those 60 pounds that haven't been in my body for 3.5 years. I hope to find what gets me back to losing the 100 pounds, but I have left. But today I can celebrate my success. Thank you for all you both do. Thank you, Denise, for sharing that. And man, kicking ourselves in the tail and being frustrated and never taking time to celebrate ourselves, that is the most pitiful thing to me, that we do that to ourselves. And I loved when Ben Asadi said, we are a masterpiece because we are a piece of the master. And I think, man, if for no other reason than to celebrate that point alone, we need to stop and be thankful and appreciate what we've been through and celebrate our good effort.
Yeah. Some people are talking about digital scales. I don't know if they're talking because it's scrolling fast. But if you're looking for a food scale, the one that I really like is the OXO, because it's got a little. I'll put it in our Amazon later. But it's got a little digital readout that pulls out a side.
Yeah.
And what's nice about that is you can put your plate on and still see the screen. So
yes.
It's the readout is on a little cord. And so when you pull it out, I think Robert Sykes uses the same one. So now you can put your plate on, and then you pull this thing and you can actually see what's going on and zero it out with your plate on there. Next one is from
Fabiola.
Said, I'm new to yogurt making, so this may be a silly question. I'm doubling the recipe because I want a big batch. Should I increase the time? If so, how much? Thanks. So it's funny. I didn't think so. But I did double check with Chris Bear, who always makes a double batch, and he said, no, you don't need to increase the time. You can still do the same 8 hours. But again, people think that like you have to get up at 8 hours. You can let that thing go, you know,
yes.
And the longer you let it go, the more the cultures work. There are people who let it go for 24 hours. For me, it's perfect at 8 to 10 hours, but if I'm not getting up at 2 in the morning if it's done at 8 to 10 hours.
Right.
What I do is if I get up in the morning, if it's done at say 2 in the morning, when I get up in the morning, that's when I transfer it over to my strainer.
Boy, Chris Bear made a delicious batch of yogurt. It had been straining for 4 days because we were just, busy with stuff. And we had some last night, and it was so stinking delicious and just a consistency that was delightful.
Okay, Noni said, can BBB be done if I take flavored electrolytes? Okay, so the real way that Dr. Berry set this up, and we had actually somebody message us that, like, oh my gosh, you're doing beef butter, bacon, and egg wrong. It's supposed to be done in a 6-hour eating window. That is not true.
Take your
go
sheriff's
back.
badge
If you're
off.
interested in BBB, go back to our original videos back in October, September and October when we did it. We did that with Dr. Berry. And Dr. Berry's whole thing was as much as you want, as many times as a day you want, but you can only eat beef, butter, bacon, or eggs. You can't have anything else. That means no sweeteners, no heavy. If it's not on that list, you can't have it. No chicken. Okay? Here's my answer. And I said to him, I need my flavored electrolytes. I need my electrolytes flavored with sweetener. And he's like, Joe, you are an adult man. You can do what you want. But I think you can go 30 days without stevia. I did it. I didn't like it, but I did it. So I'm going to tell you the same thing. Should you? According to his thing, no. Why? Because it's an elimination thing and we're trying to get rid of anything that could possibly be causing a problem. Sweeteners, even stevia, can possibly cause a problem. Everybody's body is different. So I would recommend for your 30 days or however long you're going to do beef, butter, bacon, and egg, use the unflavored Redmond electrolytes, or use Keto Chow drops, or the Relight tablets, or capsules, or Keto Chow's got tablets,
Yes.
In a bottle. And now they're coming out with them in individual packages,
I'm
which
so
we're really
excited.
excited about. It means that we can use them. So there are options. That's what I'm going to tell you. With that being said, if the absolute only way you can get your electrolytes in is with the stevia ones, I would do that.
Yeah.
Okay? Because electrolytes, if your electrolytes are off, you're going to have no success, no matter what you do. Okay?
Yeah.
So,
just be frustrated.
but I'm going to tell you, there are plenty of options without the stevia to at least go the 30 days, then go back to them and see. If you do beef, butter, bacon, and egg for 60 days or 30 days, and you have a lot of results, and then the only thing you add back in is stevia flavored electrolytes, and you hit a stall, you may have a problem with stevia. At that point, make it part of your meal.
Well, I enjoy the personal win of taking myself from the category of a person who can't do something to I can do something. And getting rid of like stevia for a month, that is a hard thing. Mm-hmm. That is a big challenge if it's something that I commonly depend on. But there's been victory for me just having a month, not forever, not for life, to be able to say, I am a person who can't ever go without coffee, to a person who can go without coffee.
Yeah, Maitreya said, yes, Dr. Berry gave me that tough talk too. I asked about coffee and he said, do what I want, but if I want to be strict about it, I know what the answer is. He's going to tell it to you straight.
Oh, no
right?
excuses.
Next one's from Barry.
Hey, Barry Brooks. Whoa, I am floored by your macros. Your calories seem so low. Protein intake below 100. I've watched your Keto Basics videos, but I must be missing something. I've been trying to keep my protein at 130 plus and not let my total carbs fat go over that, which is challenging for me. Can you please address how often you hit 1-to-1 during a typical week? If you see you're falling short on protein, do you just lower your carb and fat limit? Thanks to Crazy Ketos.
Okay, this is a great question. So I actually pulled this off of one of our vlogs before we left, which I'm sorry we have not put up any videos over the last couple days. Just way too much going on with Keto Salt Lake. It was more intense than we thought it was going to be.
In a good way.
Also, what we're going to do is we decided we didn't do a whole lot of videoing here. So we did a couple clips here and there, and we're just going to put together one video kind of summarizing our trip. So one of the reasons I have not been hitting my normal protein goal of 150 to 200 grams is because of what was going on with my teeth. I guarantee you I was hitting it here because we've been eating Utah burgers. We
Brazilian
had
steakhouse.
a Brazilian steakhouse. Chris and Miriam, for all the speakers the other day, had an amazing spread of brisket and meatballs. We had it again last night.
Beef short ribs.
But, and as I work on my teeth, there's days where I just don't hit it. Is that every day? No. if you have a day where you only get 100 grams of protein and your goal is 150, that's fine, so long as you don't make it consistent.
Look at the trends.
If one day I'm on 100 and another day and I'm 140, another day I'm at 200 and one day I'm at 80, you got to look at your average for the week. There's no set thing where the clock strikes midnight and your body's like, okay, new day, everything that happened yesterday didn't happen anymore. It doesn't work that way. So how often do we hit exact 1-to-1? Almost never. Okay? Doesn't have to be. 1-to-1 is about what your limits are. So your protein is your goal. Your energy, which is your fat and your carbohydrates combined, is a limit. So can your energy be higher than your protein? Is that okay?
Well, your energy should not be higher than your protein.
No. Can your energy be higher? Like if I only eat 100 grams of protein today, is that okay if I eat more energy today?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Now, if my energy goal is 150, like mine is 180. That's my energy limit is 180. Should I eat 200 energy on a regular basis? No. Because then I'm probably going to gain weight.
Yeah.
If my energy limit is 180 and only at 150, that's fine. If my protein is at 100 and my energy is at 150, that's okay because my limit is 180 for my energy. Your body is not going to use protein for fuel. I don't really care about my calories. Counting calories doesn't matter. I care about how much fuel am I giving my body. And fuel is determined by grams of protein, grams of fat, and grams of carbohydrates.
Yeah, and I will definitely say I am so glad that we are not focusing on calories, but we are focusing on grams of energy, because I can tell you I am eating well over 2,000 calories a day.
But here's the thing. You're going to have someone go, well, I can eat 3,000 calories a day and I'm eating super high protein. But you're not eating enough energy, possibly. If you're eating 2,000 calories of protein, but only 500 calories of energy, like fat and carbohydrates, you're probably slowing down your metabolism.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why we don't look at calories. Counting calories doesn't mean anything because protein calories really don't matter that well.
Right.
And that goes back to oxidative priority, which we do not have enough time to talk about.
It's hard to change our minds on these.
We took a fade to black.
There you go.
But I forgot I hit it there. Okay. Next one from Facebook is from Robin.
Hey, Robin. I need help kicking the Coke Zero Diet Dr. Pepper. Suggestions?
I forgot to put a link for it. Somebody can put a link for it. It's on Nisha's channel. Nisha Berry's channel. It's about 2 months ago. But I'll tell you what it was. And this is a recommendation from Dr. Berry and Nisha because this is what they do.
Brilliant.
And I have been doing it and it works because I'm a soda addict. The only time I really now drink soda is like here, we're on vacation, I drink soda. And that is get your soda and cut it with seltzer water.
Yeah.
Go buy Topo Chico. We use the Soda Stream. If you go to a fountain, like if you go to a gas station, you go to a fountain, most of the time there's a little button below one of the flavors where it just says seltzer water.
Yeah.
Cut it with seltzer water. So you can even start off with 75% soda, 25% seltzer, and then work your way. When I get a soda now at a fountain, it's like 25% soda and 75% seltzer.
It is amazing what it has done. So we had gotten, a soda and I just took a drink of it, but we have been working that sweet tooth of soda down and cutting it like Dr. Berry suggests. And I took a sip of it, and what would have normally been like, yay, was like, oh, that doesn't taste right. It almost tears my stomach up. So it really has changed.
Becky put the video in. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Becky.
I will put it into the show notes later. Patty said, I have a really hard time eating enough protein, even getting enough protein, even just eating meat. Eat more often. Or expand your eating window.
Yeah.
Okay? Everybody should be getting at least 100 grams of protein. And by the way, I got an email from somebody yesterday about, I found this thing on Google that says that your body can't use more than 30 grams of protein. That's not true.
No.
It's got to do with, that's the minimum amount. Bronson, if I remember when I'm done, I will put it into the description down below. Bronson, who is much more educated on that than I am, actually made a video about it when I mentioned it to him, and I knew it, but he was able to articulate it better because he's into working out and stuff. And he actually made a quick, like 3 or 4 minute video from his car. As soon as I asked him, I'm like, I want you to make a video on this. And so I will get that linked. It's from about 2 weeks ago that he made that video.
Thanks so much, Bronson.
Next one's from Steve.
Hey, Steve.
This may be a dumb question. What is the best way to keep bacon crisp when keeping extra for tomorrow?
Good question.
What I do is we prepare our bacon. I slightly undercook it. Not
snotty.
Not snotty. Slightly undercook it. So if you're cooking it like in your oven, or if you're cooking it on your Blackstone, what I would do is I would take it off about 2 minutes before I normally do, so it's still not super crispy because we like crispy bacon. Then I put it in paper towels and I put it in the refrigerator. And now when we want to actually use it the next day, if I want to reheat it, I can just stick it in the microwave or on the Blackstone, and it'll get exactly where I want it. If you're not going to reheat it, just cook it all the way and stick it in the refrigerator. Next one's from Oval.
Hey, Oval. I think I got ripped off. I bought 2 cans of my store brand chicken. The label says 10 ounces net weight. The back label says serving size is 3 ounces, with the can being 3.5 total servings. I didn't want to use the whole thing, so I drained it and weighed it. Boy, was I shocked. All of the drained chicken weighed only 5 ounces. I weighed it 3 times just to be sure, and yep, only 5 ounces.
That's because the can includes the water.
Yeah.
The weight that they're giving you includes the water. So if it says, if you think you're eating 10 ounces of chicken, you're only eating 5 ounces if you're throwing out the water.
It's good to measure that. That's great to bring that to our attention. I will say that I've really enjoyed the Wild Planet tuna.
There's like no water in
There
it.
is no water to drain off, and it's interesting. It's so much less smelly than some of the other tuna fish that we've had that are just packed in water. So I've really been enjoying that. And then you don't feel ripped off because I mean it's full.
Yeah. Next one's from Lori.
Hey, Lori.
I made a mistake. I thought I'd give the Aldi keto bread a try. I had 1 piece per day with breakfast. My blood glucose only increased by 9 points when I ate it. So I thought, it's okay. I always count total carbs, but I only counted the net carbs for this bread. Since doing the April challenge and tracking everything I eat, I believe eating this bread has been the cause of my constant hunger, struggling with cravings, and no weight loss for 4 weeks. I started keto in July of 2021 and I'm down 30 pounds. I've decided to go back to the basics and eat only whole, natural food. Thank you for this challenge. Without a return to strict tracking, I have not turned this around before becoming very discouraged. I may not have turned this around.
Yeah, Lori, I'm so thankful for you to share that. We were even talking to Siobhan, who's Dave's right-hand lady, probably one of the most brilliant women of our time, right? Yep. She's a researcher.
And she's young.
And just such a
You're
sweetheart.
going to see her like on the face of magazines one day.
Absolutely. We're going to be studying her. She's so brilliant. I'm so thankful to call her friend and for us to be able to meet her in person at Keto Salt Lake was such a privilege. But she was even sharing her dad trying to make low carb selections and had a similar interaction with this bread. I mean, is it more important for us to get to have something lie to us, but not have the results we want? You know what I mean? It's
right.
Like, I want to feel like I am getting to enjoy every single thing I did before I started keto. So I'm going to bring this bread into my life because I'm going to be deprived without it. I'm going to be missing out what everybody else's experience is without it. But if it's lying to us and undermining our goals, do we really want it? Do you need it so bad that like I am willing to bring a lie into my diet and then not have good results and then be frustrated like what is happening, why is this happening? Because we're bringing it in but it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing.
I'm gonna get some hate right now. Don't eat any of the keto friendly breads you buy in the grocery store. Don't eat the keto friendly breads. Don't eat the low carb tortillas. They're all garbage. Okay, there's no such thing as zero net. How are they taking 25 total carbs and turning it into zero net carbs? It's a lie. As a matter of fact, Siobhan was telling us about one of them, and I'm not going to name the name right now, but somebody one of their clients actually had it tested because they were having insulin reactions and they
Costs
were having
money to do
glucose
this.
reactions. And they sent it off to a lab, and it turned out that the company is flat out lying on the nutrition label, lying about the calories, the fiber. It was a complete lie, and they have reported them to the FDA. I'm not going to say the name of the one. Don't eat them. Okay, if you need bread, make Maria Emmerich's protein sparing bread, or make the breads. There's lots of keto bread recipes online that use almond flour, psyllium husk. The ones that you see from Fox Hill Kitchen, those are all good. You know, the ones that are using actual keto-friendly flours, even lupin flour, if you're okay with legumes. But these ones where they're using wheat flour, if you look in the ingredients and see wheat, run. Do not eat that.
There you go.
I'll tell you something interesting, and I'm not advocating you eat this, okay? One time we were in the grocery store, and I picked up a package of regular tortillas. Just like Mission, whatever brand it was, tortillas. And I looked at the carb count, and I don't remember what it was. Let's make up a number and say it was 12. And then I looked at the same company's low carb tortillas, and the total carbs were higher. But then they had a bunch of fiber in it. And then the net carbs were like 2. But it had higher total carbs. And it had fiber that the other one didn't have. And when you look down the ingredients, the only difference was the fiber. So what are some of these companies doing? Is they actually add fiber so that you can take it out, because that gets you to buy it.
They're actually increasing the carbs.
Yeah.
So it's undermining what you're trying to accomplish. We use Egg Life wraps.
Yep.
I mean, again, there's so many things out there, because I understand a grab and go option. There's folio cheese wraps. There's like all kinds of things so that you can have a conveyance for your food without undermining yourself.
Yeah, just don't eat those breads. They're just not good for you, and they're not going to help you on your journey. Next one's from Ashley.
Hey, Ashley, I'm not getting anywhere near the calories that I need, but I am hitting my protein every time. I'm getting extremely full and not sure what to do. I'm not needing to lose weight, just trying to maintain what I've lost.
Just increase your fat a little bit, okay? Make sure you're eating enough fuel, okay? You should be eating enough fuel. On average, you should be eating probably, unless you are only looking to weigh like 70 or 80 pounds, which I don't think anybody is, you should be eating a minimum of 80 to 100 grams of fat a day, or fuel a day.
So you're already eating your protein. It's amazing what a 1 tablespoon of butter added to your cooking process of the meat that you're eating will do to raise your fat side.
Yep, and here's the thing. Protein will fill you up in the moment. Fat's going to help you get to your next meal. That's why it's important to have that balance. If you eat a lot of protein but no fat, you're going to get a crash.
Yeah.
Okay? So you can almost get the same kind of carb crash where, you know, if you eat a bunch of carbs, right? You eat a candy bar, you get a high, and then you get a crash as those carbs go away. Protein, if you eat a whole bunch of protein but no fat, you could get a crash afterwards. I call it my meat coma. Okay?
Yeah.
So the protein will fill you up in the moment. The fat is going to help you get to your next meal.
I call it my protein wall.
Next one's from Blanche.
Hey, Blanche, non-self-victory. I love food and great tasting food at that. I have learned that processed commercial food are engineered to make me like and want more of them. As I journey on my ketogenic diet, I have learned to appreciate and prepare whole basic foods that I truly enjoy, help me to heal, and are sustainable. What I am learning is it's not only processed foods, keto or not, aren't the only reasons I overconsume foods. I'm learning to listen and recognize my body's signals of hunger, fullness, and needs. Example, I now crave and am fully satisfied when eating ground beef, something I never cared for, but I also must track and portion what I choose to eat. I find it does take longer to feel those fullness cues, but they are there. I slow down, don't deny, but enjoy and listen. I am continuing to learn the difference between my wants and my needs, and that is empowering.
Yeah, and here's the thing. The closer you get to just whole food, like beef, butter, bacon, and egg, or carnivore, the less you have to worry about over-consuming, because you're not going to be over-consuming. I will never forget sitting in the house in Omaha, and Dr. Barry looked at us, and it was all planned out for us to do beef, butter, bacon, and egg. And he looked at us and he was like, you can eat. Rachel's like, how much of it can I have? And he was like, you can eat as much as you want, as many times as a day as you want. And I guarantee you will not gain 10 pounds of fat if you did it for 90 days. And Rachel looked at him and goes, challenge accepted.
Yeah.
Thinking, I get to go home and he just gave me permission to eat 10 pounds of beef a day. And she really thought she was going to be able to do it.
I could not do that. And thankfully,
You ate less.
he knew that. He knew that he was looking in the face of an addict, a carb addict. So when we were taking the carbs, that carb-rich diet that we used to have out of the mix, I wouldn't be able to eat as much as I thought I could.
Yeah. I was just going to text something to Becky. Next one's from Terry.
Hey, Terry, I made the PSMF bread and would like to have sandwiches. Do you eat deli meats or Oscar Mayer or what? I am trying to avoid sugar if possible. Terry, that is a great question. We don't eat a ton of lunch meat, but we also do sometimes eat lunch meat.
Yep.
I mean,
I wouldn't eat it every single day because there are some sugars in all of them. It's the way they process them. With that being said, do we eat lunch meat? Yes. Does Nisha Berry eat lunch meat?
Yes.
Yes. You know, we've been eating Utah burgers here. So if
They're
you don't know what a
delicious.
Utah burger is, there's a couple of restaurants here that have them. The one we go to is Apollo Burger. And it is basically a cheeseburger that now has Euro meat. I used to call it gyro meat. But a Euro meat, which probably has some flour in it, and pastrami, and bacon. And then we get it wrapped in lettuce.
Why isn't every place making these?
Right? So we get, this is our order, and we are getting one today because we go home tomorrow. Or either that, we may go out to the Brazilian Steakhouse, and we may get that on the way to the airport at 8 a.m.
There you go.
So we get double beef, double Euro meat, double pastrami, double bacon, wrapped in lettuce. Dr. Berry approved.
Yeah.
We only ever got him single, and he comes in at lunch the other day and he goes, have you guys tried this burger?
Yes.
When you go get it, get double Euro meat, double pastrami, and double bacon.
He is the sweetest. I mean, he gets excited when he finds something fun to eat, just like, we do. And I was so tickled because I can tell you honestly, all of the speakers that spoke at Keto Salt Lake are so down to earth, and it was just fun because it's really like a casual dining, fast food, no frills setting, and to be sitting there with Nurse Cindy and Kim Howerton and Dr. Peter Ballerstedt and Dr. Barry and Bronson, and everybody is just so down to earth, and no one is eating a panda massaged meal, right? Everybody is just down to earth people.
Should you eat that Utah burger every single day? No. But is it going to kill you if there's a touch of sugar or a touch of flour in that Euro meat and you're on vacation and you're eating it, or you're out with your family and you have some lunch meat? No.
Yes.
No.
That's
Let's
right.
look at the overall picture. Are you eating the bread? No. Are you eating the sugar that's in the sauce? No. Those are the things that are really going to cause a problem. Not the 1 gram of sugar that may be in the lunch meat when they made it.
If you're watching this on the replay, I would love to know, if you were constructing a burger, what would your burger have on it? Because I don't think we've reached the end of the creative process.
What was that thing that Benazati said the other day? I say this all the time. Strive for perfection, but no, you're probably never going to hit it. But 90% for me is good enough. And now I'm going to pull up my notes. And again, strive for perfection. No, you're probably never going to hit it. In fact, we're never going to be perfect. He had this great thing. Every day is a perfect day to try for a perfect day.
That is great.
Right? I'm stealing that from him.
There are so many things. Like Kim Howerton says she loves coming to conferences because there's always going to be a speaker that makes her go, what? Like there's some kind of information to be gleaned. And I felt like when we were listening to Benazati, I was like, what? Many, many times throughout his talk.
And here's the thing. I'm going to give you something else. So many of us worry about the lunch meat or the 1 gram of sugar that may be in bacon when they're curing it. I'm getting ready to pull up the microphone. Are we looking at the oils that we're using? If you have not done this, and I know I'm going to get hate in the chat or hate in the comments down below, you should not be using any canola oil, processed oils. Now, if there is a touch of sunflower oil in your pork rinds and you eat that bag once every 6 months, you're fine. Dr. Siwas had a whole video about it's everyday kind of thing. Should you be eating Hellmann's mayonnaise every day? No, throw it out. Go in your closet, go in your family member's closet, whether they're doing keto or not, and throw it out. So Another great statistic he had. I'm going to pull it up so I don't miss it. Okay? You ready for this? If you smoked two packs, they did a study and they asked the doctor, if you smoked 2 packs of cigarettes every day for, I think, was it 28 years?
Yes.
There's a 16% chance of getting lung cancer. If you ate bad oils, seed oils, that means canola oil, corn oil, vegetable oils, all those, every day for 28 years, there is an 86% chance that you will have coronary heart disease or a heart attack.
Why do we have this?
What did the doctors say? Stop smoking. I'm not saying start smoking. I'm saying that the bad oils are a lot worse.
We're
than smoking.
avoiding smoking because of the health impact, but we're not avoiding. And I loved when Dr. Peter Ballerstedt said, there is no vegetables in vegetable oil. It's not like I'm going to take this carrot and get the oil out of it, right? That was so eye-opening. So yes, we
Ben
need to get rid
Azadi
of-
also said, when I was talking to him, and he had said it, he was like, you shouldn't even be eating fish oil. Like cod liver oil, none of that. Cod liver oil isn't as bad as a lot of the other ones, but fish oil tablets, they're not really good for you because they're supposed to be at 45 degrees. Your stomach is a lot warmer, and so as soon as it hits your stomach, it goes rancid.
Oh.
And that the best thing to get the fish oil, eat fish.
Eat actual fish.
Eat the actual fish.
He's speaking into your life, Joe.
I know. Okay, we have one more, and hopefully you guys can hear me. It does say you can hear me. So this one's from Jackie.
Hey,
It
Jackie.
said, gotta love simplistic truths. Don't forget to drink water and get sun. You're basically a houseplant with complicated emotions.
That is hilarious. Are you going to turn off the mic though? So
I
you don't
am.
have the
You
double
can still
thing?
talk. It's not
But
that much over.
but that is so stinking true, and we need the time in the sun. We need that. And I know that it's been a very cold winter for some people, but when we do have those schizophrenic temperatures that it's my gracious, it's 22 degrees one day and 50 degrees the next. When you get one of those 50 or 60 degree reprieves from winter, get out and get your sun in. It is going to speak into your life. It's going to speak into your emotions. There's a reason why we have seasonal depression. We cannot not get out and soak up some of that sun.
Oh, okay. Someone said it doesn't look like Keto Chat's going to do a video today. I believe they are. Yeah, Marcy said, I've heard this before. No longer take fish oil tablets. And somebody else said DHA. He said eat actual fish. That fish oil is not that good for you. And someone said, LaShawn wanted to know, did Ben talk about the toxic metals in dental work? I honestly, here's the thing. We were emceeing, so it was...
We may have walked away for that.
You had to keep walking away, mic up the next person, because we were doing... Miriam and Chris had so much going on. We were doing the best we can to take it off of them. They didn't have a bunch of volunteers. They had a couple of their kids. Yeah. So they didn't have
they're getting a double mic.
Preferences.
Don't.
It says it's off. It says the microphone's off.
There you go.
Okay. So we tried to take as much off as possible, which meant being in the back, making sure the next speaker was ready, finding the next speaker, micing them up. So we did miss things. That's why I'm going to go back and watch it. But yeah, metal and dental work is horrible, which is one of the reasons. That's why I love my dentist, because she was like, all of the work that's being done is either 100% porcelain or a better material. And she said, if you want metal, I won't do it. And it's not about money. She's like, I just won't do it. Metal is the worst thing in the world to put in your mouth.
Yeah. So they are going. They will have a live. So I want to make sure that we get off.
We're gonna get off. We got a few minutes. So let's pull over the comments.
I'll move my cup.
Okay.
My cup so it doesn't runneth over.
Even though the comments are here, the camera's over there.
Hello.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. Blue Dove says, now we cannot put it up on the screen because I don't have that software with me. Blue Dove said, I'm seriously considering buying big containers of avocado oil and pouring out my mother-in-law's cheap vegetable oil and refilling with more expensive stuff. She'd be horrified to know the cost.
You know what? If that's what you got to do, that is an investment in her future. I think that's a great idea. She don't need to know.
Yeah. So LaShawn said, basically, he said, any metals in your mouth have to be removed because they're slowly making you sick, but you have to go to a doctor that knows how to remove it. Yeah. And that is, I am blessed to have found a dentist who realizes that. And that was one of the things when she was taking out one of the crowns, she was like, this material that is being used is now considered a super toxic material. And even now, she said that when she was working the other day, she's like, you don't have to do this right away. but all of my crowns were porcelain over metal, which caused some of my gums to recede. But she's like, it didn't just cause them to recede, it caused them to bunch up. And she's like, eventually, within the next year or so, you probably will have to have laser surgery to correct some of that because of the way the gums now sit. And what caused it was all of the metal that was in my mouth.
Because your mouth was like, I don't like that. I am going to retreat away from that because your body is trying to preserve you.
Yeah. She said, he also said, don't get root canals, get the tooth pulled. Again, the best you can. You know, I already have a whole bunch of root canals. I'm not getting any more, but, okay. Yeah, Shreya said, guilty as charged. I do a half a teaspoon of sesame oil when I make seasoned eggs. I really love the flavor. It's a seed oil. For other people, skip. It's not all eaten, though. Yeah, and again, I'm going to tell you this. We make our crack slaw, which is basically like egg roll in a bowl. I put a little bit of sesame oil in there for flavor. Am I having that every day? No. It's, again, what is your overall diet?
But it's a way to help people who are still frying their food in a way. I mean, for your loved ones who are not keto, because again, this is not a keto thing. This is like, hey, I'm dropping off more oil, and if you don't Lion King it, like you're saying, Blue Dove, just change it out. If you have to use the same bottle, but like you're just pouring it in there because they won't be able to handle the cost, and just, hey, I picked up some more oil for you, wink wink. But we don't eat where everything is just soaked in the vegetable oil like we used to.
Yeah, Joe Ray say Bronson even got a Utah burger. I got an Apollo burger for lunch. Pastrami, 2 beef patties, cheese, bacon, onions, tomatoes, and mustard. It was so good.
It was just very creative, right?
Yep. Andre said, very cool. I'm the person who emailed you, Joe, about the protein. I was really freaking out when I found the misinformation. Thank you so much for your quick response.
Oh,
and again,
Andrea.
we've seen that before. It actually came up about a month ago, about 3-4 weeks ago, actually. And I knew the answer, but I didn't know the proper way to articulate the answer. And that is the honest thing. And that is what's so awesome about this community is there are people who are much better able to articulate things than I can.
So why would we be like, oh, if it can't come through us, it can't come through?
Right.
That is a silly thing. We need people. We are so grateful for everybody in the community that helps to speak into all of these different topics. We don't have to be the expert about everything because there are experts on in particular things.
There is a place for everybody. I don't ever claim to be an expert. We're not doctors, nurses, or health practitioners. Our job is to educate based on what we have done on ourselves, experiments, what we've learned on our own personal trials, on our own journey, what we've learned from talking to people like Bronson or Dr. Berry or Kim Howerton or Ben Azadi, and then we want to build a community and be support. There are things that we can do that they can't do. There's things they do, and we're a big family, and that's what's so awesome about this. Whether Bronson wants to steal your T-shirt and turn it into a store and turn it a talk, or I'm going to steal. I have a whole list of things that I will be talking about and stealing. And I walked right up to Ben and I said, I'm stealing it. He's like, have at it. Because we need to get the message out.
We probably need to come up with a more precious word. Maybe like reappropriating. Because stealing sounds like so bad. Like you've done it without permission.
Right. Well, I got permission. Let's see. Oh, Becky said, I woke up to a 14-year-old
Mama
today.
Chris is here. It is worth getting to a convention that Mama Chris is going to be at, because there is just nothing like a warm hug from her and encouragement. Like, she spoke into so many of our lives this week. I was so thankful. Autumn was amazing. I loved hearing her speak. I loved seeing Richard in the front row cheering his beautiful wife on, and I was so thankful that Mama Chris was there, and that also we had access to all of those beautiful t-shirts. I'm excited for the 2 t-shirts that are heading our way. I mean, I can't wait to get it.
Yep. Exposing Darkness. How did you decide to do this video at this time of the week? It's such a bad time for me most of the time. We just always release Keto on the Couch at 10 a.m.
Wherever we're at.
And then also, remember, it wasn't always live. It used to be a video. We just stopped doing it as a video and we do it the way we do it without really addressing chat to the end, because it took so long to edit. but also the time frame has to do with we're not always successful, but we try to not interfere with other popular YouTubers live streams. And so, for example, Keto Chow is going to be on at 11:15, or it's 9:15 here. Autumn used to live stream for us at 9:30 in the morning there. So we always tried to find a spot. That's why we chose Thursday nights for our live streams, because we don't want to do our live stream at the same time Dr. Barry's, because a lot of people want to watch both.
Yeah.
So that's why we do that. But that's why we do it this, and then you can just watch it as a video and just the chat isn't there. And then we have our regular live stream on Thursdays. Natalie said, thank you. I love you too. What you do for us. I love the support that you give. Chris said Dave Feldman didn't get another Utah burger yesterday because they were closed.
We were driving him back to the hotel, and he was just like, he has such a great personality, doesn't he? And he's just so upbeat and just enjoyable to be around. I mean, a positive person really is just such a treat to be around. And he was like, "Isn't this amazing?" And he lives like in Las Vegas, right? So he's not far away. And he's like, "Why don't they have these in Las Vegas?"
So we're gonna do one more, and then we're gonna get off. Somebody asked, and I lost it because of the way this is scrolling. Teflon pans versus ceramic. Yeah, Teflon pans are not the greatest, especially the old ones. If there's any scratches or nicks in your Teflon pans, throw them out. They're just not really good for you. The best thing to do is try to get ceramic coated. Okay, we are going to get off. We thank everybody for joining us. Sorry for the little bit of technical difficulties. We did the best we can. We're going to let Chris and Miriam start using the internet. And then, I don't know what we're going to do the rest of the day, so long as something includes beef.
I vote Outlet Mall for us.
Mall.
You guys can go do drone stuff. But I'm Outlet Mall. It's my vote.
Everybody have a great day. Bye.
Bye. We love.